find out and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest. He's the founder and CEO of Drum Talk TV Incorporation, other than Mr. Dan.
How are you? So honored to be here. Thanks. And thanks everyone for listening and watching.
Fabulous. Fabulous, Mr. Dan. And thank you so much for being part of Napstakase. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Sure. So I'm the founder and CEO of Drum Talk TV, which is now as of the first year, actually, 13 years ago, the largest online media company following the world of drumming. And it's not just for drummers, it's for all types of music fans. We have a wonderful membership site now that has a free level and a paid level. It's what's on the screen there. And we have live stream music themed trivia game shows twice a month. We have live stream fan Q&A sessions with big artists, record executives, and producers. We have our first 100 viral videos of our first 10 years, just so many other things. It's a lot of fun. And we're right now beta testing a whole bunch of new games that people can play on demand that are all music related. But what we do on our social sites and our regular website is we do documentaries, we interview gold and platinum artists, we interview new artists. We curate content from our fans from over 100 countries. We do so much related to music and not just drums. We cover events. We have 5 original series of our own, getting ready to release some more. Just turned 13 years old, January 7th of 2026, which is unbelievable to me. Me personally, I'm married. I have a wonderful wife named Enja, who has just been the most amazing supporter. And together we have a blended family of 11 grown kids, 19 grandkids, and just had our second great grandchild born a couple of weeks ago as we're doing the show right now. So quite a busy life. I got 4 dogs. She's away right now with them in Las Vegas visiting. So I'm alone with 2 cats and 4 dogs and running my marketing business and Drum Talk TV and get to be here with you. So lots of fun, lots always going on.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Dan. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And today, let's talk about the music industry as a business. With the per stream payouts famously low, what are the most viable and often overlooked revenue streams that sustain professional artist careers today? Is it a touring, brand deals, or something else entirely?
I think it's something else. The music business has changed so much, even in the last 5 to 10 years, let alone the last 50. And often when I have someone on my show who's been around for 40, 50, 60 years, I ask them, I say, other than technology and the equipment we use in the studio and to perform with, what are some of the biggest changes in the music industry? And the money isn't there like it used to. I mean, I interview people who used to have their own jets as a band. They used to fly everywhere, and it's just not like that anymore. There are such things as fly out gigs, which is different. That's when someone like me based in Arizona might fly out and do 4 shows in the Northeast of the United States for a few days, then fly back home a week later, fly out, do some shows in Texas. That's different than a band having their own jet that they would just do a world tour with. The best way that artists can make revenue now is kind of 2 different things, but they're related. One is there's really no record companies anymore. I mean, there's some, but it's more of a distribution sort of deal as opposed to a record label that's going to just give everybody a $300,000 advance, go record your record, and here's some living expenses. That's just not happening anymore. So self-publishing and learning how to market. I know a guy. I have a marketing company, and I've worked with a lot of gold and platinum artists and up and coming artists. And it was born out of the strategies of how I grew Drum Talk TV so big. But the best way that artists can make money and keep the money and not split it 18 different ways is performing live. And it's important to understand that there are so many opportunities in music outside of recording a record or getting a record deal. There are tribute bands that make a lot of money playing corporate shows, corporate holiday parties, corporate team building parties for like golf club companies, automobile companies, major food brands, major restaurant brands. I mean, when a brand like McDonald's in each region around the country has their holiday party, it's a huge, they spend over $1 million. It's a big thing. So there's that, there's education, there's playing the cruise circuit, there's playing the hotels, there's opening for bigger bands, a great way to get discovered by going on tour, even a partial regional tour, opening for bigger bands. But when it comes to streaming, even some of who are the biggest artist names that have come out in the last 10, 20 years, they're on Bandcamp, they're on Spotify, and they're fighting the same fight that everybody else is, where it's hard to sell there. People, excuse me, people are looking up albums on YouTube and just listening to them there. So the artists aren't getting residuals. And it's really an upside down, inside out industry from what it was 10, 20, 40, 50 years ago. It's just so different. And I personally, being in I used to do all that. I used to record, I used to tour, I was a session player. I played all over where I grew up in Los Angeles and Hollywood. And now I'm in the media, and just even talking to people for the last 13 years as the Drum Talk TV guy being in business. I wish it would all somehow go backwards, because it's sad to see most artists, most right brain thinkers, they don't learn the business end. They either think they're entitled, or they're not wired for it, or one of the biggest mistakes I see, especially when it comes to marketing, they're just copying what everyone else is doing because that's what everyone else is doing, and they're doing it wrong. And they don't know how to work the algorithms. They don't know how to leverage the ones that'll work for them and get around the ones that will thwart their reach. And it's just a big mess, to tell you the truth. And I come from the tribe of creatives, of course. I've been playing drums 57 years, something like that. Yeah, 57 years. And it's just not what it used to be. And I would love to see creatives get more joy out of their playing by making a solid living out of it. And the internet has, it's interesting because the internet has, in one way, leveled the playing field for everybody. But in another way, there's, I hate to use this word, I just can't think of another word for it, and I don't have my thesaurus next to me, but there's so much saturation. It is so hard to be found and discovered by new fans unless you play out and unless you really understand marketing. Otherwise, people are just, like I said, making the same mistakes everybody else is making. So that's my sort of nutshell, maybe more like a nut tree's worth of nutshells worth of my take on the music industry right now. And I don't think it's so different from most people in the business.
Very well said, Mr. Dan. So we've seen historic sales of song catalogs. What does this tell us about how financial industry now values music, not as a current hit, but as a timeless dividend paying asset?
Oh, that's interesting. There's a lot of inner workings about the finances when it comes to the financial industry and music that I really don't know about. Other than I know that it's changed. I think that something that ties into that are things like, I think I heard it's coming back, the Warped Tour, big touring events like that. that have the skateboarding, the motocross, bicycles, and a band, stand and a theater, all these outdoor summer things. And then, of course, in Europe and Netherlands and Scandinavia, places like that, they have all the big music festivals. They just don't have that in America. Excuse me. I've been up for let me think 14 hours, so bear with me. They don't have those opportunities locally. But my point is that's where corporate sponsorships have still come in and have sponsored big events like that, where musicians, if they can get hooked in and connected to things like that, that's where they can get payouts. And then that's how they can advertise their music to a live audience. If the event is being streamed, they get that many more people. And then if it's being streamed like on YouTube or some of the other platforms out there, it gets archived, so it gets discovered later. They have their merch tables there selling CDs, shirts, hats, aprons, lunch boxes, beach towels, and umbrellas, and whatever they can bring that has their logo on it. Those are some ways that it is kind of, I think, stitched together where there's more opportunities. But again, the band or the artist has to be business minded to either learn how to do that or know enough to vet a smart enough manager to handle all that for them.
The 360 deal, Mr. Dan, was once controversial. Has it, in effect, become the industry standard model by necessity as labels and distributors seek any possible slice of an artist's income in a fractured market?
If I understand correctly, yeah, I get it. Okay, sorry. It took a
No
minute.
worries.
But yeah, that's exactly it. It's a fractured market, and out of necessity comes invention, right? It's a mother of invention. And that's where all these other either different opportunities like the corporate gigs, education, the different things like that. And of course, with education, there's all kinds of new tributaries being that we can teach while streaming live, singularly or to a group of people or with products. And also things like the corporate gigs and those festivals that I believe has helped kind of heal what became fractured, has also invented new slices of pies where before those opportunities, no one did those because they weren't, or not that no one did them, but they weren't as prevalent as they were now because of all these other things that sort of led to dead ends. Um, I used to know the equation by heart, Daniel, of how much YouTube pays, and it's an ungodly amount of views slash listens that an artist needs to have on YouTube to earn $100. It's like it's tens of thousands. And let's just think about it for a minute. If we could just all sit at the grown-ups table and be real, how many people seek out a brand new artist that they never heard of because they're just poking around looking for new stuff and discover someone that they just listen to over and over or fall down their 3 album catalog? Or does it happen? It happens a little bit, but back in the day when we look at before all this streaming stuff, we all knew bands like Neil Diamond, Linda Ronstadt, Barbra Streisand, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, Yes, Genesis, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And what did we do? We heard them on the radio and then we'd go buy their albums. And nowadays there's millions of artists on Spotify and Bandcamp and YouTube. And it's like, there's only so much time in the day, let alone time in the day to just go look for new music. So I don't know how musicians survive now. I really don't.
So, Dan, let's talk about the platform's power and the access. The algorithm as A and R. Playlists or algorithms now dictate discovery. How is the change the creative process itself? Are artists unconsciously writing for algorithmic triggers?
I don't think so. What really helps the algorithms, and this kind of ties into the issue I just mentioned about the saturation and how many people can you get. What really helps feed the algorithms is interaction with that. We'll call it a post. So it could be an album on Bandcamp, it could be an album on YouTube, it could be a playlist of songs on YouTube by a band from an album. It's the interaction by the listener that will fuel the algorithm to distribute that post to more people. But a lot of people just listen to the music. I'm guilty of that. I will put on music when I'm working and I can use my ears and it won't distract me, or when I'm not working, I'm making dinner or I'm out gardening or I'm just spending time with my dogs and cats. I might put something on Spotify or Bandcamp or YouTube, but I'm not going to stop what I'm doing to comment on it. And I think that's what fuels the algorithm by the listener or viewer is not the behavior of the listener or viewer if they're going to sit and just listen to music. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, Mr. Dan. And so, digital distribution made getting music to the market virtually free and universal. But has this democratization of access inadvertently created a system where millions of artists are comparing for pennies, effectively providing free content to enrich its tech platforms?
Was that I heard what you said, but was it a question, Daniel?
Yes. Why
Yeah.
is it? Why
that-
don't the digital distribution are getting what free and universal, and now the artists are getting penniless?
yeah. I don't know. And I don't know why the revenue share isn't backwards. It should be backwards. It's the creator who should be making the lion's share of what revenue is there. And one thing I left out is that there are opportunities for advertising on websites, advertising on social channels. And I mean, having a third party advertiser run their ads on your channel, on your videos and whatnot. But it takes a lot of that as well to generate third party revenue. And even that doesn't add up to that much. So I don't know what the ultimate answer is, and I don't know what's going to change this. Although in the last year, maybe two, we've seen who was it? People like Bruce Springsteen pull their entire catalog from Spotify. I think Neil Young did the same thing. But my point is, I think it's going to take a big exodus for something to change. Otherwise, I don't know what would change this. But the thing is, before all this came about, no one saw it coming. So the big question is, what is coming that might change this for the better that we're just completely unaware of right now because it hasn't happened? We don't know. No one saw the CDs coming. No one saw digital streaming. No one saw Bandcamp, Spotify, all those different Pandora, all these different platforms. No one saw coming before they did, and they were the big changer, in this. So I don't know if I know the answer to what would change this around unless everyone left those platforms. What else would
So,
change it? You know, because then they're not at
definitely.
the mercy of those platforms. But then maybe they don't know what they would do instead. And I think what they could do instead is just run their own channels: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Vimeo, third party ads. Don't play their entire albums for free, sample and sell. That might be the only answer, but it's not going to work unless everybody does it. Otherwise, someone will go, "Oh, I'm not going to do that. They're still on Spotify. I'll go listen to them." You know what I mean?
Certainly. So TikTok as the new radio. When a 15-second clip on TikTok can make a career, what happens to the value of a full-length song, the album as a narrative, and the artist of a long-term development?
I think, there's an old saying that says any publicity is good publicity. And I think every little drop of a pebble into the water creates a ripple. So those little pebbles are creating little ripples, and a lot of little ripples can go a long way. So I think that can help. And maybe what you just said is part of a some breadcrumbs that might lead to a bigger solution. The ability for that to happen, and for the viewer slash listener to be able to do that. Um, there's a lot of new algorithms that came out across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. In fact, I did a workshop earlier today covering all of those. And I don't have all of them memorized exactly that I presented, but I do know this. They all collectively, across even the different platforms owned by different entities, other than Meta owning, of course, Facebook and Instagram, the others are separate. They all added up to the same thing. And that is, it's the engagement. And when I say engagement, I mean real engagement, not the emojis, but the comments, the shares, the watch time of a video, the listening time to the video. All those factors will fuel the algorithm to give more distribution. But again, going back to listening to music, unless someone's hearing something for the first time on YouTube or something, they might comment and say, "Oh my gosh, what a great discovery. This is wonderful." Or, "Wow, finally their new album. I've been waiting 2 years for it. This is wonderful." Maybe share it with a few friends. And then after that, life goes on. It's not a place or a thing, for the most part, that I think people hang out and do. Um, Sorry, I'm being corrected on something that I'll tell you about in a second. It has to do with what we talked about on that website.
Is
um,
that all, Mr. Dan? But before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in third season, and my book 101 review in sixth season as well, comedy 101 in third season, and my book 10, and my food 101 in sixth season as well, geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, Music 101, our fifth season, Science 101, Sex 101 in fourth season, Spiritual Awakening, Trivia 101, Law 101, Mental Health 101, Motivation 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and of course, my Bible Verses 101 on my BB podcast. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Dan, what is one widely held belief about the future of the music business that you think completely wrong?
that I think is completely wrong.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and you can scroll up. That sale is still on. Uh, um, I,
Okay.
one is something that I honestly believed in myself up until maybe a couple years ago, and I really, and this is subjective. I kind of thought there's no extraordinary music coming out anymore. But I've totally turned around, because thankfully, being the Drum Talk TV guy, we get records and stuff sent to us all the time ahead of time before we interview someone. There's a lot of really good new music out there. People need to get out and listen to really good new music. And because there's new music going on, that I think is the fire that will help fuel the change in everything we talked about that is wrong with the music industry, with artists not making enough, or in some cases any money. I think that that's going to help, um, fan the flames, if you will, to a movement that will turn this around. And I think the quickest answer is for everyone to just suck it up for a little bit and bail from those platforms and make their own money on their own platforms or using YouTube. Those are my thoughts. Thank you.
No worries at all, Mr. Dan. So, can you please invite the listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yes, thank you very much. Please visit www.drumtalktvbrilliance.com. We have a sale running right now. That's our membership site. And the sale is you get a whole year of premium for $14, but that's good through February 16th. Other than that, I can give out a secret code to everybody listening, if that's okay. And they can
Yes,
get
we did that. We like
discount.
that, Mr. Dan.
Great. Let me find that real quick. Here it is. You could go to www.drumtalktvbrilliance.com and at checkout, put in the code DTTVFREE3, and you'll get the number 3, and you'll get 3 free months to test out premium. And it's all capital letters DTTV FREE and the numeral 3. You get 3 free months. We'd love to have you. It's a lot of fun. And there's a free level there too that you can check into, folks. A lot of fun, a lot of fun. If you like any kind of music, we're a virtual playground for all types of music fans. Thanks, Daniel.
No worries at all, Mr. Dan. Yes, people love support Mr. Dan Shinder because if you support him, for sure, more and more music will rise. Yeah, so Mr. Dan, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.
What can people see you soon?